Good morning. Freilich and Hanukkah. Today's share is going to be the second part of Inyan Hanukkah. We started the other day. We started speaking about the concept of Hanukkah. Why did Chazal Dafka institute that it should be on the candles? Candles is something more spiritual. There's obviously something going on spiritually here, and we have to understand what exactly that means. And the last thing that we said, we asked the question that Aaron HaKohen is commanded to light the menorah twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening. And in the morning, he uses the lashon Ba'boker behitivu es haneros yaktirena. He uses the lashon behitivu, which literally means when you make it better. And in the evening, he uses the lashon uba'alis. And we said that Knesset Yisrael, the source of the Jews, are called the menorah. The menorah is in one solid piece, and the same thing, the Yidden, the source, they all come from one place. And in general, all the 600,000 Jews, they all come from there's seven different types of general Yidden out there, and that's what the 7 branches of the menorah signify. And then the last thing we said is that Aaron's job is, he is one of the shepherds, and he brings that the love that you have to the Eibishter should be a lasting ava, because without Hashem's help, since we people are coarse and we're megushim, so the way that we're able to have this help is with Hashem, and this is also with the help of Aaron HaKohen. That's where we stopped the other day. So we're holding Daf Lamed Beis. The paragraph starts with Inyan Chanukah, V'zeu u'ba'alis u'beitivu. Okay, so now the Alter Rebbe says, "V'zeu b'chinos ba'alis u'beitivi." This is the meaning of the two phrases. Ba'alis, he will bring up the fire of the lamps of the menorah, and heitivu, he will make better. We asked why different expressions. Why in the morning does the Torah use the expression heitivu, he will make better, and at night the Torah uses the expression ba'alis, he will bring up. So he says like this: Kihine Amru Razal. The Gemara in Yuma says that Afal Pisha Eish Yerid Min Hashamayim, even though a fire comes down from heaven, even though there's a fire that descends from Shamayim onto the Mizbeach, which consumes the offering, which consumes the carbon, nevertheless, the halacha is mitzvah lahavi min hahedyet. It's a mitzvah to bring it from man-made effort. In other words, there's two types of fires. There's a fire that comes milmaila, that consumes the mizbeach, and then there's a fire that has to be a man-made fire. Why is that? So he says, Pirush, what's the deeper explanation why there's two fires? Now, he's going to explain that the fire on the Mizbeach that consumes the carbon is like a metaphor for the love of Hashem in our heart that consumes the Nefesh HaBahamis, that consumes the animal soul. So just like on the Mizbeach, there were two types of fire, a fire which came from above and a fire which was made by man, so too there are two types of fiery loves to Hashem. One fiery love to Hashem is a gift, milmaila, and the other one comes, it's man-made effort. So he's going to explain like this. Pirush, why is there two types of fires? So he says, hahedyet, the fire that comes from man-made efforts, hu ha'ava sha'adam lekeach, machmas ha'olamos mibchinas malchusai yisbarich. So he says that the man-made fire represents the love of Hashem that a person is awakened in himself, coming from the recognition of Hashem's kingdom. Shumelech Gadol v'Neida al Kola that Hashem is found in the worlds. Hashem is great. He's awesome. He's the king over all the worlds above and below. So the first Ava basically comes from a person, like the Alter Rebbe is going to explain in a few lines, contemplating how a person awakens in himself that Hashem is basically the king of everywhere. He's found in the worlds, and he's great, he's awesome, he's the king over the worlds above and below. And all the hosts of heaven bow to you. And there are thousands and millions and hundreds of millions of angels that stand before Hashem, as explained in the Gemara. As the Gemara and Zohar explain the different types of worlds which bring out Hashem's greatness. In a similar idea, we find that the Chacham instituted to say, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchusei Le'elavod. We say, by Shema, before we say V'ahavta, we say, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchusei Le'elavod. Now, the simple taich, the simple definition of Baruch Shem means, blessed be the name of his glorious kingdom. The Fnei V'ahavta. So we say, Baruch Shem Kevod, from after you say Shema till after we say Baruch Shem Kavod. What does it mean? Why are we saying blessed be the name of his glorious kingdom? So he says, by contemplating on Hashem's glorious kingdom and the creation and how Hashem is over millions of worlds and infinite creatures, a Yid will then be able to experience V'ahavta. So we say like this. We say, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchus Le'elavod. Blessed be the name of his glorious kingdom. And through contemplating about Baruch Shem Kavod Malchusei, then a person can experience the level of V'ahavta. So he says, V'aiter Kihine. We're holding the page 64. For those who are using the regular Torah Ohr, page 64, the second line, Kihine. So he says like this. We say every day by Baruch Shamar, Yachid, we say Hashem is Yachid, he's the only one. Chei ha'elamim melech, he is the life of all worlds. Meshubach u'mefeir adei ad shmei hagadol. Praised and glorified forever, and ever is his great name. Now, what does it mean Hashem is the only one? We're saying Hashem is Yachid, he's the only one. Chei ha'ilamim melech, he gives life to the world, and he's a king. He's praiseworthy. Ad ad shmei hagadol. It means he's praiseworthy, and he's exalted to the highest levels. So what exactly does that mean? So he says like this, Piddush, what is the meaning of this saying? So we say like this, Yachid hu l'mayla mebchinas echad. Yachid, when we say, what's the difference between Yachid and Echad? So he says that Yachid is higher than the level of Echad. Why? Ki Echad haynu k'mayim razal. Echad is like the Gemara in Bracha says, Shu Echad b'shamayim u'ba'aretz u'b'dal ruchas ha'olam. That Hashem is in the heavens and the earth in the four directions. Echad is comprised of Aleph, Ches, and Dal. Aleph is one. That refers to Aluf, the master. Hashem is one. Ches is the gematria of Ches is 8, which refers to the 7 heavens and the 1 earth, which together they add up to be 8. Dalid is the 4 directions of north, south, east, and west. So the word Echad represents how Hashem is the master over the heavens and the earth. In other words, Hashem is in charge. Hashem is the master, but he's the master of what? Over the heavens and the earth. And he explains further. All of the spiritual worlds above have no significance. to any independent importance at all compared to Hashem, and before him everything is like nothing, and compared to Hashem it's considered like literally non-existence, and there's nothing besides for him. So therefore, Nikra Echad. So therefore Hashem is referred to as one. Why? When he's compared to the worlds, so he's one. He's one over all the worlds. What's the terminology? What does it mean only one? It means that he's alone and himself. He's alone in his own category. And he's not in the category of worlds at all. It's like, what's the common denominator between somebody who has $1 and $1 billion? So you can say, yeah. So what's the common denominator? We both have money. Yes, I have $1, you have $1 billion, but it has a comparison. Lahavdil, when you say that Hashem is Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, you're speaking about the level of the Eibishter, how he has a connection to the world. He's the Echad of the Ches and the Dalet. When you say Yachid Cheha Ilamim, you're basically speaking about how Hashem has no connection, the world has no significance to him, which means even the highest worlds and highest everything has no significance. Everything's nothing to Hashem. Exactly. So he says like this: Yachid Pirush Yachid Miyuchad B'fnei Atzmi Hu Levati Hu Ve'ein Begadol Lemis Klal. Yachid means that he is alone himself. He's alone in his own category, and he's not in the same category as the worlds at all. So that's what it means. Yachid. What does it mean? Cheha Ilam Melech. What does it mean? He's the life of all the worlds. Pirush all the life of the worlds, which Hashem gives life and creates everything, above and below, only comes from the level of Melech, which means Malchus. They all receive their life from the level of Hashem's kingship as a result of him being their king. In other words, how did anything come into existence is from the level of king, the level of Malchus. The lowest level of all the Seder Shtalshlus, that's where it came to be. So we're saying, Mela, Yachid, Hashem is really non-existence to the world. And the world has no shaykhs to Hashem. Chei ha'ilamim melech, and anything that's alive, where does it get its chayis? From the level of melech, from the level of malchus. V'chein, masher b'shubach u'mefayar, the fact that his name is praised and glorified, hainu, hashevach machmas shemesigim gulasai, this praise that comes from understanding his greatness, hu ade ad, to gulasai ein cheker, which means that Hashem's greatness is forever and ever. There's no limit in his greatness. And above all the spiritual worlds, there are infinite levels of praise, one level higher than the next, without any limitation. So that's what it means. Again, Yachid, he's alone, he has no shaykhs. Chei elamim melech, all the chayis comes from the level of melech. Meshubach and Mefayar, the highest levels of Hashem, even above all the spiritual worlds. There's infinite levels of praise, one level higher than the next, without any limitation. And all these levels of praise are only for his great name. Meaning, they are only from the levels of Hashem's name and kingship, which extends over them. So even the highest levels of all the worlds, even higher than all the spiritual worlds that we know about or we don't know about, all comes from the level of Malchus. And these praisers are not able to be applied to Hashem's essence and being at all. The There's no thought that can grasp him at all. He's alone to himself, and only his name is able to be exalted. As it says, Malchuscha, your kingship, Malchus kol ha'olamim, is what creates the kingdom of all the worlds. This is what the Gemara in Megillah means by saying, in a place that you think that you're finding Hashem's greatness, you're really finding His humility. As it's written in Tehillim, Hamashpili lirois b'shamayim u'va'aretz. He lowers himself to look upon the heaven and the earth. Which means that from Hashem's perspective, He considers this as lowering himself and humility to give life to the souls of the lowly. So what does it mean in the place that you find the greatness of Hashem, you find the humility? Because for Hashem to bring His greatness into the world, that's a great humility. Like it says, He lowers himself to look upon the heavens and the earth. This that Hashem, we say, that Hashem supports the falling, and He heals the sick, and He straightens the bent over. We say this in Shemona Esrei. That all comes from Hashem's humility. And the whole attribute of Malchus, of kingship, is called Eretz, which means the land. Why? Because it's for Hashem to lower Himself, it's likened to the lowly earth that everyone steps upon. Since Hashem's attribute of Malchus descended from the place of Atzilus, in order for the king, his name will be called on it. So why do we compare? Why do we say that Hashem's Malchus is Eretz? Because just like Eretz, everyone steps upon it, the land, everyone tramples on it. So to Malchus, it's a very great descent for Hashem. Therefore, Zeisyav and Kol Yitzur b'sumeish el liboy v'yarchiv daiti b'gedulas yisparach v'nifleis of ma'aseh b'ribei l'meisad adin cheker. So when any created being that will take the heart to think deeply into the greatness of Hashem and His wondrous acts in the creation of the worlds, in a yaskil, he'll realize that it's a great humility for Hashem. Because nothing is comparable to Hashem at all, and He's not in the same category of existence at all in the worlds. He's equally higher above everything, and makes from the greatest to smallest, it's all the same thing for Him. So when a person contemplates into all of this, nefesh v'leiv, he will become excited, and his neshama will become inflamed. And his heart will experience the level of b'chol nafshecha, with all your soul, to leave the limitations of the world. So when a person actually takes this exercise and he thinks, and he contemplates in all these levels, through that he will grasp and have an appreciation for Hashem. And that will also infuse the level of b'chol nafshecha, that he'll want to leave the limitations of the world. Why? Because he's going to want to experience Hashem. As it's written in Tehillim, Mili b'shamayim v'im chalei chafatzti ba'aretz. It says, David HaMelech writes, who do I have with me in the heavens, besides for Hashem? V'im chalei chafatzti ba'aretz. And besides for you, I don't want anything on the earth. Kolo she'edi levavi. My flesh and heart yearns for Hashem. And this is what it means. And you should love Hashem, your Hashem. Ki ha'ava. What is love? The word ava comes from Sheresh ava. Ava means to yearn. So ava means to yearn. He's going to desire. So what's he going to desire? The Hainu. It means that the person has a strong inner desire that Hashem Aleikecha, that Hashem should be his God by actually connecting to him. And by actually connecting to him. So, the person thinks that everything is coming from the level of Malchus, and V'ahavta, he's going to desire. Usually V'ahavta, you should love Hashem. But the Alter Rebbe is saying a little bit deeper. V'ahavta, you're going to desire. Meloshin Ava. What are you going to desire? That Hashem should be your God. And through this arousal from below of the person, the light of this love from above will shine on him. So first, when a person thinks into Baruch Shem, and automatically he's going to desire that Hashem Aleikecha, so this is all Aveda, which comes from Asusa de Lasata. So eventually, he's going to get a Or Ha'ava, he's going to get a life from above, which is going to cause him to make him even greater and intensify the flaming love of Hashem in his heart, more than he would be able to arouse on his own capacity, and more than the ability he receives even from the source of his neshama. Why? Because the neshama is also limited in a finite creation. The korve el Hashem mamish, to cause him literally to come close to Hashem. Ubitul elav b'mitzius mamish ayidei b'chinas aron kahana rabba. And basically, he surrenders his entire ego to Hashem, and this comes through the level of Aaron, the Kohen Gadol, who represents the kindness of Hashem higher than Atzilus. So once a person has, and he has his own Aveda of V'ahavta Hashem Aleikecha, Hashem will give him Ava. He'll give him like a gift, Milmaila. And how does he attain this gift? How does this work? This is dafka through Aaron HaKohen. So he says, weiter, ki V'ahavta b'gematria beis pa'amim eid. V'ahavta, like we said, there are two levels of Hashem's love. And this is expressed in the word V'ahavta. Now, V'ahavta has the same numerical value as 2 times the word Ohr. V'ahavta is B'gematria V'ahavta. Tuf is, we say Vav is 6, Aleph is 1, Hey is 5, Beis is 2, is 400. Altogether, how much is that? 414. The word Ohr, if you take Aleph, Vav, Reish, is 207. So 2 times 2 times 207 is how much? 414. So V'ahavta beis pa'amim Ohr, 2 times Ohr, is the same numerical value as V'ahavta. What's the connection? Because there are 2 types of love. You have the love which comes through your own Aveda, and then eventually you're given a love which is a gift, Milmaila, from Hashem. So he says, weiter, v'nikras b'china zu be'tivei. So the higher level of love that Hashem gives you, that's referred to as Heitivu. He will improve the light. He will improve it. From the goodness and kindness from above, Hashem bestows His love on the humble people. To improve and make greater the love that was aroused by the person from below. Beitivu, what does Beitivu mean? Beitivu means when he makes better. So we asked the question, how come the Torah uses the terminology in the morning? When Aaron lights the menorah, uses the terminology Beitivu, and at night he uses, or in evening he uses the lashon of Baalis. So he says like this. On a simple level, this means that in the morning, Aaron had to make the menorah better. How did he make it better? He had to clean out the menorah.
Question they spoke about earlier in the Bible, no?
Yeah. One of the other day, we asked, how come in the morning does it say Beitivu, and at night it says Baalis? So he says, Beitivu means that you're making it better. Now, in the literal sense, what does it mean that Aaron made better? Is he cleaned out the menorah. He cleaned out the ashes of the burnt oil of the previous night. On a deeper level, what does this mean? Alter Rebbe is explaining that the phrase to mean that Aaron cleaned out means that what does it mean that he's making better? That Aaron basically helps that the level milmaila, that your ava that you attained with your own effort should be better. How does he make it better? Is by helping you through the love of Hashem that's added. What does it mean? What does it mean? The revelation that Aaron basically helps you, that the level, the gift milmaila that Hashem is giving you, he helps you attain that level. He says, even the arousal from below, which we described, that a person awakens himself to the desire to connect to Hashem. This is also a gift from Hashem. It's not according to the ability of the person, according to his inborn characteristics. What the Alter Rebbe is saying is, even the first ava that a person has, the sesrusa de lasata, even whatever love that a person has, it's also a gift from Hashem. And the level, the first level of Hashem, this is referred to as Ba'alis Aaron. Aaron will bring up that Aaron gives the, what does it mean, Aaron? He means that the level of Aaron that exists above, he gives the power to the Yidden, to the source of the people, to be able to arouse this love for Hashem. So, why do we say Ba'alei Spei Tivei? Because even the level of the first level of Ava that a Yid has, what Bechlal gives the Hisairus to Bechlal want to work on this Ava, this is through Aaron. It's al derech, we say by Elul that the Avodah of Elul is a Sursa de Lasata, and the Avodah of Tishrei, or the Avodah of Tishrei is a Sursa de Le'ela, or the Avodah of Nisan is a Sursa de Le'ela. But then you have the Yud Gimel Midas Arachamim. So the question is, where does the Yud Gimel Midas Arachamim come in? So explains the Chassidus that the Yud Gimel Midas Arachamim is like the jump starter that Bechlal gets you to want to work on yourself. So how does a person's Ava, how does he Bechlal want to get in touch with his Ava? How does he want to Bechlal want to work on this innate love? This is through Ba'ala, is through Aaron HaKohen's Aveda. Time is it? Okay, we'll stop here. We'll continue the Ma'amer Mitzvah Hashem tomorrow. We'll finish it up.